Back to the Elite as Rogue take down XL in what was a very one-sided game, and it is my pleasure to introduce for the very first time Steeel, the assistant coach for Rogue. Thank you so much for joining me, Steeel. How are you doing?
I'm doing great. It's my pleasure. Thanks for having me.
Fantastic to have you on broadcast for the very first time. So, as the assistant coach for Rogue, could you talk me through your job specifically when it comes to working with the players, but also the synergy you have with Freddy?
I think Simon and I get along really well because he's the type of coach to openly delegate tasks to the people around him, So I'd say he places a lot of faith in me to kind of do what I'm best at, which include, talking to the players one-on-one, working on the individual stuff and kind of creating some concepts here and there. But overall, from a duty perspective, it's very shared. Simon obviously takes a leadership, so Freddie takes a leadership and kind of shows me the ropes, and then I follow his lead and do my best to contribute.
All right.
So, yeah.
All right. Well, when it comes to the match today, it was again a very one-sided game for you guys. Could you talk me through the approach to take down XL and point out their weaknesses, maybe?
I wouldn't say that we're specifically attacking like their weaknesses or anything like this. We have an idea behind how we want to play the game. We have an idea behind how we want to improve at the game, and then we just bring those concepts on stage, and the goal is obviously to have the best performing playoffs team possible, right?
All right.
So we just stick to our guns, and then there might be some niche things with draft and whatnot when it comes to like each team, but other than that, yeah, mostly just sticking to our guns and what we think is good.
All right, interesting. And now, as one of the few already teams locked in playoffs, you have I think an advantage in the way you can anticipate the last few games you have left, especially building to playoffs. How are you going to approach this to have like as many options as you want to be ready for playoffs?
I mean, I think that's a task that you start from week one, right?
Yeah.
I mean, it's just like any other team. You use the players and the cards that you have to their utmost potential. The job's a lot easier, right? Because coaching is a very humbling role. If you have good pieces, then it's not very hard to have good results, right? So I think just trusting our players and going with their strengths and minimizing our weaknesses, and then maybe having a few spicy picks here and there and some strategies here and there.
All right.
But,
well,
mostly just from week one, having a really good process.
I see. Yeah, and that's what's something that Freddie mentioned actually in an interview with Tom for the upcomer. Last question for you, Steeel. You were telling me about working with players individually. I want to touch on Malang because he quickly became one of the best junglers in the league and maybe one of the best players we have in the league right now. What's your take on his improvements and the role he takes in the team?
I mean, Malang was already a very good player when he joined, right? So a lot of what he needed to work on was just adapting to the team. Obviously, every team is different. Damwon Gaming in 2021 was a very top-centric style, so he had to kind of adjust to a more mixed style where we played both top and bot lane. And yeah, I mean, the biggest thing was just, as I said, that adaptation and maybe just learning some English skills. But other than that, I think he is a good league above most of the junglers in Europe at the moment, especially when it comes to understanding where he is on the map, where the vision is on the map, and not showing himself and finding opportunities. So, and also reading the meta. So yeah. I would say that a lot of the development comes from us helping him adjust more than developing him as a player. Yeah.
You did a fantastic job. And so with the rest of the Rogue lineup still, thank you so much for the interview and congrats on the week for Rogue. And for more on Malorang's early pathing, let's send it over to Shox and Broxa.